Hello, welcome back to the Retired Farm Boy channel. My name is Jeff, and on this channel we talk about everything retirement related, preparing for retirement, life in retirement, and also travel, and also living on a small farm, which I do. So a little bit of everything you're going to hear on this channel, but hope you enjoy the videos. Speaking of enjoying videos, I wanted to hope you will enjoy this one. My wife and I were sitting around the other night, and we're talking about the things that we've been able to do since I've retired, and we have done quite a bit. We were going through a list, and there's 5 things on there that we consider to be bucket list type items. So we've actually done pretty good in doing a lot of things, and I can honestly say, they've all went well and hasn't affected us in a financial way. So finances is where I'm going to talk about to begin with. That's near and dear to everybody's heart that's preparing for retirement or is in retirement. I can honestly say that we're still on track financial from where we expected to be after 2 years. And I think the reason for that is that, one of the reasons anyway, is that we continue to budget and make sure that we're living within our means and staying within our means. We've actually not done a couple things knowing that it's going to push our monthly budget beyond where we expect it to be. So, life is about choices, and I think you need to make smart choices, maybe even more wise choices in retirement than when you were working, because when you're working, you can maybe make up for some stupid mistake, but it's hard to do that when you're retired. So we've been able to do that. It's really been a good result from our finances. We went into retirement with quite a bit in our emergency fund, more than we needed for sure. And that was because we knew we had these bucket list items that we wanted to do right out of the gate in retirement. And so we had more in there than we actually needed in their emergency fund, because we knew we were going to spend it quickly after I retired. So the way we were able to do that is about 2 years before I retired, we sort of set a date for me to retire. Now, I ended up retiring about 9 months sooner than what the date was for me to retire. I retired at the end of June 2022, and that was when I turned 62 in June. So it really has worked out well. I say in my videos, you've heard me say it, I wish I would have done this sooner, and I actually do. But when I realistically look at the timing of it, it was a good time for me from the standpoint that we were saving up for some activities we wanted to do going into retirement. And I think by waiting as long as I did, it gave us the time to save up some funds besides in our retirement accounts to do some things that we wanted to do. So I can honestly say we're on track with our retirement. 2 years in is going about like I expected, which is good. No big surprises. I'm not that much farther ahead either than what I expected us to be, but not behind, and that's the good thing. With today's stock market, going up and down, and now they're predicting another 20% drop of the S&P 500 by the end of the year. It's hard to have a stable environment, it seems like, but I feel very comfortable that we're still in the right spot. So another thing I wanted to talk about is one that should be talked about more, in my opinion, and that's your health. I think it's very important to maintain your health. Now, my wife and I are lucky. We're very healthy. We don't have any limitations of doing anything yet, other than me getting too old to do them, maybe. But we've been blessed in that regard of having good health, and I think it's important to continue to make sure you have good health. So I joined a gym. I've been going to the gym for 2 years now, and it's definitely helped me get in shape. And probably in better shape now than I was when I was working. I'm definitely added some muscle. I haven't lost as much weight as I wanted, but that's a constant battle, right? The other thing that I suggest people do is make sure you're going to your doctor, and doing the things that the doctor suggests you need to do. Get on the meds. I used to be very funny, I guess you'd say, about getting on a medication. I tried my best to not get on any, and just accept it. There's plenty of meds out there that can help. So just accept the meds. If you need to get any, make sure you're doing that annual physical, because do your blood work so you know that your numbers are in range, and if they're not, get on the proper medication. But health is something that you want to make sure you stay in good health for as long as you can, because that's why we worked all these years, is to retire and enjoy it. And health is one of those things that can really dampen the retirement aspect of things. One of the things that's really been different for me from year one to year two is getting tasks done. So after year one, I can honestly say I was still giving myself deadlines, still trying to make sure I kept myself busy during the day and try to knock off. Now the tasks are a lot smaller. There's stuff, mainly things around my farm is what they are, but I'm still worried about being able to do them and trying to stay on target. Now at 2 years, I can honestly say I don't really press myself anymore. If I miss it, I miss it. It'll be there tomorrow, just like it was when you're working. It'll be there tomorrow. Nobody's going to do it but you. So I've been able to take a little pressure off of myself, I think, by just giving myself a superficial deadline in a lot of cases. And I can honestly say, I enjoy getting things done still, obviously, but it's not as pressing for me. The old adage that people say, I don't know how I was able to work, I'm so busy in retirement. And that's true. My time does seem to have been filled up a lot. I'm somewhat the Uber driver for my family going to doctors if they need to have somebody go with them. So that kind of stuff is, just things that I didn't really expect, but I'm very glad that I'm able to do that. So keep in mind that you do get busy in retirement. It's a fact. It's amazing how you can fill up your schedule real quick. And the last thing I want to talk about is stress. I have literally no stress anymore, I don't feel like. Now I'm sure I do, and I don't recognize it, but I definitely can tell it's not what it used to be when I was working. And it's funny, I'll give you a couple examples of traveling with people who are still working, and you can sort of see the difference. I think that's when it sort of hit me like, wow, it's different for me now. I don't really know why the stress went away. I don't know that I did anything special. It seems like I woke up one day and I had no stress, but that's not the truth. So a couple examples I want to give you on that is recently took a vacation with my wife and mother and father-in-law. One thing was to go to her brother's ceremony where he was taking over a command in Fort Liberty, formerly Fort Bragg. So we went to that ceremony. So we drove over there from Middle Tennessee, and we would get in traffic jam on the way over there. We hit one, and immediately, my wife's getting on Waves to see how long it's going to take and whether we should decide to go somewhere else. My father-in-law was already on the phone trying to figure out alternate routes around it, and it seemed like I'm sitting there going, why don't we just, what's the big deal? Let's just see what's going on. So I said, well, let's just set and see if it dissipates pretty quickly. And if it does, there's no need to do anything other than just sit here for a few minutes. Well, lo and behold, it did break up at about 5 minutes, just like always in traffic jams, it seems like nowadays is, you're going 60, 70 miles an hour, and all of a sudden you're down to 5 miles an hour or even stopped. And that's the way this was. And then 5 minutes later, you're back up to 60 or 70 miles an hour, and you don't see anything. You wonder what really happened with the traffic, how it got stopped like it did. So didn't bother me at all, but it was really getting to the people in the car with me. So once we get to Fort Liberty for the ceremony, we left in plenty of time to get there. We had refreshments that we were bringing for the ceremony, and so we needed to get there early, get set up, and all that kind of stuff. So we left, a lot earlier than we needed to be there, really. And so we get onto the base, and I've never been on but one Army base, and it was at night, so you don't really get a good feel of how big these things are. Fort Bragg is over 52 square miles, so it's like a little city unto itself, and I wasn't expecting that for some reason. So we were trying to navigate to the ceremony, and when you get into those kind of areas, the navigation is not necessarily correct all the time, and that's what we run into. We sort of made a bad turn based on what it was telling us, and what's even more I guess telling of how big these bases are and how different things are in different spots within that 50 miles. We stopped and asked a couple of Army guys, and they had no idea where we needed to go. So that didn't help us any. Got everybody a little like, oh my gosh, how are we going to find this? So in effect, we turned around and started going the other direction, and we ultimately got there. But in between getting there and getting on the base, again, people in the car were freaking out because, we're not going to get there on time. We got to do this. And I just calmly sat there and said, guys, we left in plenty of time because we didn't know where we're going. We'll get there fine. And we did. And we were actually there way too early, and we stood around a lot. But those are the kind of things, a couple examples of stress that I don't feel like I have very much anymore. And believe me, that right there, other than the financial side of things in retirement, the stress part is probably one of the biggest benefits I've seen from retiring for 2 years, is that you don't get upset, you don't get worried anymore. You just go with the flow, so to speak. Plan well, continue to plan well if you're driving somewhere or something like that. But if you get stuck in a doctor's office for more than the time you thought it'd be, and you're not going to be able to accomplish something that day that you're wanting to get done, no big deal. No stress. No stress. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I hope you like it. I hope you will subscribe to my channel. I'm still growing. I started my channel in February, so like I said, just now really getting going on this, and could use your help in growing my channel. But like I say at the end of every video I do, retirement is great.